Good afternoon, world. It's moments past noon in Waxahachie, Texas, deep in the heart of the Lone Star State. Today is October 4th, 2024, and it's the 12th, count them, 12 episodes of Grit and Good News. And I'll tell you what, I love the number 12. I'm going to give you a little quiz here. There's so many great things that are sold by 12. That would include eggs,
Yep.
donuts,
Yep.
beer,
Yep.
soft drinks,
Yep.
and work gloves.
Wow.
And
Your
I
previous life.
I sold one of those things, and
Yeah.
that was work gloves.
Yeah.
And it enabled me to be retired because
Yep.
you do have to sell a lot of work gloves to retire.
I
We're
bet.
broadcasting live from our palatial downtown second story studio in the shadows of the historic Ellis County Courthouse. I'm your co-host, Jeff Lynch, and it gives me great pleasure and honor to introduce my friend, my pal, your friend, Scott Brooks.
Thank you, brother. Welcome, everyone, to Great and Good News. Jeff and I are excited to be here today like we are any other day. So welcome to those on Instagram. Welcome to those on Facebook, Twitch, TikTok, and YouTube. We're live as live can be. You can write in and we will respond to every message we get, even if they're not nice. And we also have we can take call-ins, so feel free to call. The number is just above the elephant there, and Jeff will read it out to you. So feel free to respond and to engage and have fun.
972-268-9441. That's 972-268-9441. And in addition to being on all those platforms, 3 of them allow you to go back and look
Watch
at
it,
past
yep.
shows. That's, I always go back, not to see myself, but just to critique what we did and see
Yeah.
what we can do better and see what things that we know that you love.
Yep. So you can be here live or you can watch it anytime you want to. Just the easiest way to do that is go to our YouTube channel and you'll find it. Waxahachie Sun, you'll find it there. So we have a lot to talk about today because there's a lot going on in the world. There is a lot going on in Waxahachie. We're going to touch on one of those subjects in our third segment, I believe it is, or fourth segment today. Because so much is really going on in our country. We are now less than 2 weeks from Election Day, and I'm excited about it. I think there's a little bit of angst, but I'm excited about it overall. What about you?
Well, I'm happy to say that I did get my early vote in yesterday. I proudly wore around I voted. I was at the Women's Building there.
How long did it take you total?
Once we were in, you know what? We were in the door in 5 minutes, and they sign you up. And unless you want to pour over your ballot, they took off the straight
check.
party vote.
Yeah, so
and I think
they don't have that anymore.
Who do you think started that? Would that be the Democrats?
Probably. It's somebody that didn't like the idea that, somebody would just say, I don't need to know any more than that they're Republican, or conservative. So what time of the day did you go?
We were there about 8:20, 8:30.
Yeah, Sammy and I went over yesterday at about 10:30 or 11, and the line was long. So we're going to go back probably tomorrow or Monday. Because early voting is all of next week as well. So, and the numbers, as you've probably seen on the national reports, and I think even local reports, including the Metroplex, are that early voting numbers are through the roof.
Right.
It's pretty incredible. So the question we're going to discuss today is, and I get this feedback a lot, particularly when I write columns like I wrote yesterday, which we'll talk too about here in a minute. But I get back, given my support of Trump, and I think probably the same is true for Jeff, that how could we vote for somebody who's done this and that and that and this, and don't we have any morals? Don't we have any concern about a lack of integrity and all that sort of thing? So really, the question is, what do we base our decisions on when we enter the ballot box? What are we relying on when it comes to voting for someone? And especially given the world of politics, because, and I can't give you be fair and say in a blanket statement sort of way that all of them are, crooks and liars and cheats and that sort of thing, because before the show, we were talking about Jeff has met a few folks locally, one of them being Jake Elsey. I find Jake Elsey to be a refreshing kind of a politician insofar as that he isn't those things. At least I haven't discovered them in probably 6 or 7 years of knowing him. But it's fair to say that the majority of people that are in politics are ones you got to really know before you actually know what and who you're voting for. So the question is, where does that rank? I'm asking you, Jeff. Where does the integrity, personal behaviors, conduct, history, all that, where does that, what weight do you give it when you go into a ballot box?
And, I mean, let's put some historic perspective on it, and it may lead us to the answer.
Sure.
We know that integrity cost Richard Nixon his entire career. We know that JFK was widely known for his philandering. It didn't seem to affect his life. We know that LBJ was rude and boorish, and some say a racist.
Mhm.
Um, he he got his first job by the death in Dallas, but he did win the election in '64 over Goldwater by a landslide, and then he elected not to run in '68. I think
Right.
he was tired of it.
Yeah.
Um,
We get to Clinton.
we get to Clinton, and we know this: the whole Monica scandal didn't break till he was in his second term, but it never seems to have tarnished his image too much
Right.
historically. I mean, he's still on the campaign trail, and he's still beloved by a lot of people. And you know what? Being a good-looking man helps you, I
Yeah.
think. You know.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
with fame and
yeah.
fortune and the notoriety of being a leader and politics and that sort of thing. So,
So we come to today. Now we've got we got we've always got questions about things. We're always having fast fact checks, and so I don't know that we can really call that morality, but we do know that politicians continue to stretch their truth. So then we get to the big race, and we say, um, Kamala, she has her issues. I don't know that we have too much dirt on her, other than she did get her start, many say, through her relationship with Willie Brown, the mayor of San Francisco, helped her get her first prosecutor job. And then you get uh, the big man in Florida, and obviously he's had his he's had his issues. He's had his issues. But the question is, do you take those? I think we're forgiving of people's frailties,
mhm.
or so many. In the list of politicians who have well-known um, immoral things going on in all their life is huge. So I think overall that the answer is, while it should matter more, I don't think it matters as much as
Yeah,
it should.
yeah, I agree with all that. We're kind of held to their boundaries insofar as politics has men and women who have been accused, and we don't. I mean, we say things here. We should always probably say alleged, but because we don't have the empirical proof in front of us and have not seen it. With, by example, with respect to Trump, Stormy Daniels. I mean, all we hear is all we know is what we hear and read about in the news. Same with Kennedy. Same with others. But the world of politics is not the most pristine world. And so when people say to me, "Well, how can you vote for somebody or support or endorse somebody who's got all these issues?" Well, I don't, I'm not voting for them to be pastor or, my a kindergarten teacher or a police officer or any other number of things that we typically give integrity and character a lot of weight. Would I prefer that Trump be known as, more Mother Teresa like than more Al Capone-ish? Sure. But the focus for me is, what can this person, in this case, what can this guy do to make our country what it was meant to be and what it has been at times in history? That's my concern. If he has sinned in the past, then that's between him and God. If I'm going to if I'm going to have a litmus test of, well, they can't be bad people ever in their life, then who is ever going to be voted for? Kamala Harris, uh, I'm sure has her issues, but I don't even care about that. It doesn't matter to me. All I care about is whether or not they can lead this country, in the truest sense of the word, lead this country to prosperity. If they can, then I'm good with them. That's why Trump has my support. I will say this, and I've had an issue with the church at large for saying in its congregation, among its congregation, that those, particularly men, those men who have had divorce in their past, or have had been in jail in their past, or have had other issues, cannot be in leadership roles in the church. I struggle with that because some of the most what are we on sinful people on the planet in this world in the past were people of the Bible. Paul the apostle was a murderer of Christians and then became maybe the biggest, most well-known apostle of all.
Let he who is without sin
Yeah.
cast the first stone.
So for those who wonder how it is that people can vote for Trump, because I'm frankly tired of the question. I could say the same thing. How could anyone vote for Kamala Harris? I don't care about as I just said, the personal stuff. How can anyone vote for Kamala Harris? Witnessing in real time how inept, incompetent, how shallow, hollow, whatever word you want to use she is with respect to competency.
Never elected to an office, and in 2020, when she was running for the Democratic nomination, she was dead last, and I mean she dropped out
Before it ever got started.
Before it ever got
Yeah,
started,
Iowa.
you know.
Yeah, so I'm here to say we ought to always care about somebody's personal behavior and their integrity and their commitment to being right and to doing right. That when it comes to politics, we're going to have a hard time because they're so few and far between. So when people want to ask me why I vote for Trump, it's because I believe he can lead this country, just like I did in 2016 when we were the one of 5 papers in America to endorse him. I believe that he could, given his abilities, his talent, his experiences, his knowledge, his ability to run the country as though it were a business. That's why I voted for him then. That's why I'm endorsing him now, and that's why I believe he'll win. If we put somebody like Kamala Harris, she could be Mother Teresa in her personal life, but be as dumb as a box of rocks when it comes to being able to run a country. What good is that? I don't want somebody like that in public office.
We had no, and we had Mother Teresa's Nobel Prize in our history quiz the other day.
Oh, we did, yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember what year it was?
No.
I could dig in my.
No, I don't.
I think it was 1980.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah.
But so the question of what do you depend upon or what do you rely upon when you go in to vote? Sure, we always should consider the person and their behaviors. However, the bigger issue is, can they lead this country in a way that makes us the greatest country on the planet? That's what I'm interested in the most. Anything else on it?
I think you stated it quite well.
Sammy, you think that's about right? Yeah. All right. Sammy's got a problem he's got something wrong with his jaw, so he can't talk. So it's fun.
But he is excited for the show today, as we see.
Yeah, he is excited. Attaboy, Sammy. All right. So that's how we feel about that. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, we'd like to hear about it from you because that's the purpose of this show. With that said, Cancun's. It's 12:14 on the clock. Cancun's is one of our sponsors. We're grateful for Cancun's. For more than just being our sponsor, we're grateful because they run a quality restaurant. They make great food. And if you go to Down Home, our newest app,
cut it out.
Google Store, the App Store, you can find Down Home. Just put in the word Down Home and you'll see a blue circle logo. Download that sucker onto your phone, and in there you'll find coupons. One of those coupons is for Cancun's. You spend $20 at lunch or dinner or breakfast, which you will then be able to get an appetizer. No, it's not an appetizer. It is a dessert. I guess you could eat. Some people believe you ought to eat the dessert first.
I was at some place that served Mexican food and had sopapillas after my breakfast the other day.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah.
But in this case, you use that coupon. You spend $20, and the coupon will get you an order of sopapillas from Cancun's. I've had those sopapillas, and those sopapillas are the bomb. So,
Butter and honey.
oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
slop as much of that on there
Oh
as you
yeah.
can
Oh
get.
yeah.
Cancun's is about 2.5 miles, maybe 2 miles north of 287 on 77. Going north, it's on the west side of the street, which is the left. You can't miss it. It's in front of Atwoods and over there by Chicken Express and all that stuff. So Cancun's, that's
Scott,
your place.
Scott, do you know our friend Lisa Akins?
I believe I do. Lisa says Kamala is a racial Marxist, Marxist. Thank you for the comment, Lisa. I think there's enough. My thought of that, thought on that is that there's enough evidence about Kamala, well, not what she says in this campaign, but what she's done the last 4 years that would validate that.
And it's interesting that you say that, Lisa, because Scott and I were talking right before the show about next Tuesday. We are going to have a show about communism and what it's really about, what communism really is, and what communism was really intended to be. And I have some strong feelings about it. And so make sure you're with
Yep.
us on Tuesday.
Yeah. So there's a lot that, again, I just put aside the names, even the pictures, the names of the candidate, and say, okay, here's their record. It's what I've said locally. If people who are conservative believe that having a person on city council that's a Democrat is really going to make any difference in terms of how they vote, it's really not on a local, ultra local basis.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I've said to people who have been after Chuck Beatty back in the day, or others who have been on council that are good people who serve this community well, but happen to be Democrat, that they somehow aren't acceptable. I said, okay, well, stop, get rid of the stupid letter, take their name out of the picture, just look at their voting record.
Yeah, and those council seats, they do not have
No,
party
they don't. They're
designation.
independent. We're an independent city.
Yeah.
But the point is, take away Kamala, how do you say the name? Kamala's name, her picture, and let me just see the voting record. Let me just see her decisions. Let me just see what she said and what she's done. Same for Donald Trump. And I will tell you that it will lead you to the assertion that Lisa is making there, that
Yeah.
what she's done would suggest that she has Marxist tendencies. And yet she's the one, and others like her, run around calling Trump every name in the book. And
Yeah.
it's projection. Anyway, so back to Cancun's. Go see Cancun's. Tell them you saw it on Grit and Good News, and have you some sopapillas. All right.
Now,
Let me take a deep breath. Yesterday, I wrote a column, 1,016 words, something like that, which is about what the column size is every time. 1,000 words. You can say a lot in 1,000 words.
was it on the news page or the opinion
the
page?
op-ed page
Thank
that
you
we
very
call
much.
it, which is page 5 in our paper? That's the only place you'll find opinions. And for those that like to say, well, you can't have opinions in the paper, or it's going to, you're biased because of it, I challenge anybody since day one, August 1st, 2018, to find any story in the Waxahachie Sun that has any touch of bias in it, other than what you read on op-ed page, which again is page 5. So I believe, and I'm going to have a story next week that talks about the importance of newspapers having op-ed pages, not only for the paper to be able to express its views,
Good.
but for people to express their
Sure.
views. So the
You print plenty of letters that
Yeah, we
don't
print
agree with what you say.
we
So
print those that we get, and the only ones we don't print are where we know what they're talking about is not, via empirical proof, is not true. We will not let those run, and or where people who write in are being racist, personally attack somebody else, doing or opining or saying things that might lead to be illegal. And then I've gotten some recently that just make no sense
Yeah.
whatsoever. And I'm not going to, the idea is to say, our readers got to be able to understand this stuff. And if it's a bunch of gobbledygook, we don't necessarily want to hold those back. But on the other hand, that's valuable space.
Right.
And so if we've got one that makes a lot of sense, and another one just rambles on forever and doesn't say anything, I got to make a decision there. But anyway, so the column yesterday, titled something to the effect of "The Real Culprit Behind America's Deep Divide," and went on to say that it is Barack Obama. Now, not the only culprit. I mean, we got idiots out in the world today like Al Sharpton, and I would say to a lesser extent, but still a race baiter
The
is
Reverend
the Reverend
Al
Al
Sharpton.
Sharpton and the Reverend Jesse James. You go to MSNBC, you'll see a whole herd of race baiters like Joy Reid, who's got the brain of the felt behind me. I mean, she's a straight up race baiter. It's awful, awful to watch that stuff.
I think you meant Jesse Jackson.
What did I say?
James.
Oh, yeah, Jesse Jackson,
I, you know,
Jesse
I just
James.
staring at you, going, I don't want to correct you.
No,
If
no, I need
I'm
you to
wrong in
correct
my
me.
correction, okay.
Yeah, no,
All
I
right.
always correct me, but I
Yeah.
meant Jesse Jackson,
Yes.
the Reverend Jesse
The
Jackson.
Reverend. Yes.
So the premise of the column is to say, well, I mean, I'm 63 years old. You're about that range too. How do we find ourselves in a beautiful country that, from my life, has presented me with such wonderful opportunities? Every single one of them, I feel like I've worked for. No one's ever handed me anything. My dad refused to just hand me, millions. He didn't have
Mhm.
millions, but if he did, he wouldn't have handed it to me. But uh, so it's given me plenty of opportunity to enjoy life. Now I find myself saying, "What is going on?" The vitriol and the nastiness and the racial class,
Yeah. Yeah.
race and class and ethnicity and your stature, your knowledge. Where did all that become ammunition?
Yeah. The divide has never been worse in our country.
It hasn't.
And I don't think it happened overnight. It's been a gradual thing, but it just has gotten worse and worse and worse. We had this discussion the other day. I don't want to beat it up. Uh, Many people of the left say it's the Republicans that cause it. Many people on the right say it's the Democrats that cause it. But
Yeah,
I tell you what, I think the fact that we have such biased media contributes to it. I mean, everybody who's been around the block much knows which stations go which direction,
yeah,
right? And so people will. I have a dear friend, Chuck, who he's like so many people I've known. All they do is watch Fox. All they do, and you know what? I th- I think their perspective is more realistic than the CNN's, but um, it's certainly it's slanted. It's
yeah.
slanted, and what the papers publish, especially our good neighbor up to the north of us, the Dallas Morning News, they're selective on what they cover.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in it my whole life, adult life. There was a time when it wasn't this way in terms of the media, but the media not only has created, along with people like Obama, to the great divisions, it also represents what how how much of a wrong turn uh, both society and the media have taken, and they're connected. So the digesting of all that comes, whether it be Fox. I mean, if Fox is the only thing somebody watches, then they're not going to have
No,
kind of worldview that I think can help them. I matter of fact will take a deep breath, uh, just go ahead and put on my cringe face and flip over to MSNBC or CNN or any of the others just
right?
to see what's being
Yeah,
said. And it frankly is astounding to me. Thank you, Lisa, for that. I'm glad you enjoyed it and appreciate it. And thank you for your support. I would just say uh, that Obama knows what he's doing. I know that, and I don't think Obama was ordained as being the great savior. Matter of fact, remember when in his after he won, they showed up in Chicago on that big stage, and he said something about we're gonna impact. He said it different and better, but we're gonna impact the seas and the wind and all this BS. Like he had some godly powers. The truth is he never did and he never will. The bigger truth, as I opined in my column yesterday, is that Obama is largely behind the conflict. I even saw him speaking yesterday where he said, how did we he was asking the question that we're asking. How did we get to this place? How did we become so divided? And so that's like a obese person eating 23 hours a day and then waking up one morning and saying, how did I get so big? Obama is part of the reason, I would say a big part of the reason. that we've become so divided. He can't even help it today when he makes a speech or talks. He's got to in this case, he's chastising what he calls the brothers, young black men or black men of any age for not voting for Kamala. He's constantly talking about uh, class warfare kind of things. He's constantly belittling people. He's just a rat, in my opinion. And for those that don't like it, too bad. Proves to me that if you want to show me where Obama has done anything to help bring America together, bring it on. I want to see it.
Yeah, and the whole thing about playing the race card and the whole thing about racism is that if you look around, I don't know how you cannot notice that the blending of the races continues and continues. And obviously, it's not just black and whites. I mean, the Latinos have become huge in our country. All of the Asian countries are coming here, Middle Eastern countries, but the you can't get in the way of romance, right? And
Yeah.
and the inner mingling of the races is really coming from romance and the offspring. It's not just the black and white offspring, particularly here in Texas. So many Latino people are marrying into Anglos, and so
Mhm.
so we're getting this more of a homogenized. I'm not either one of those races, so where does that leave
Yeah.
me? And so
Somebody wrote me in my column, really nice and somewhat whimsical, funny email. Part of it was, but he said, "What about us white guys? Where do we fit anymore?" And that
well,
really
we're
is
last place. Male white guys
and
last
so
place.
yeah. So, but the point is that Obama is the reason, one of the
And he's
reasons.
biracial
He
himself.
is biracial
And and
himself.
and, and you know, it's convenient use of race too, and particularly with Kamala. I mean, she was really big on her um, Asian heritage, and now you don't hear much about it anymore. And she's emphasizing the black heritage, and I think that's pandering to groups trying to think that because I'm this or that, you should like me more.
Yeah, quite the shame. And I guess my column was also to say I'm tired of it. I mean, I have a right, just like any of you watching, all of you watching, has to say whatever I want to say, and God has given me the opportunity to have a platform to be able to say it, and I'm going to say it. If Obama needs to be held to account. And for those people that responded to my column, again, I love to see the responses. Love or hate doesn't really matter to me. But what does matter is that, particularly, a couple on there to go down the racist rabbit hole with me and say, well, the reason you don't like Obama is because he was a black man that became president, and I'm find that contemptible. There are so many ways I could make those statements appear and be foolish. It's really absurd to even. I don't respond to them. I'm not going to
Yeah.
give them any weight or credibility. But the truth is, Obama is messing around with the election right now. He's trying to convince other blacks, other African Americans that Kamala ought to be their choice because of the color of skin. If that's not racism, I don't know what racism is. And
Right.
I honestly, I just come over. If you want to know where we stand, the company stands with respect to race, come take a look at our company profile. Come take a look at our employees, and you'll discover how I see the world, and that is
Your
I
your
I
two
lo
la- your two last hires were black.
they were, and they're both wonderful
Yes.
young men, and they're both, gonna be highly successful, and they're both quality. I love spending time with them and listening to them and talking with them, and I'm investing in them, frankly. And for somebody to say, "Well, I have a problem with the guy that's black being president," that is ridiculous.
In terms of gender, your paper's always been dominated
By
by,
women.
by women, and
Yeah.
and and um
Well, women rule the world. You
and
ought to know
and
that by
let it
now.
be clear, I do not work for this newspaper, but I do work for Grit and
Yeah.
Good News.
Well, and you're over at the over at our offices a lot. So you see, I mean, so the idea here is attack the premise all you want to. I don't care about that. What I do care about is that Obama is messing around and he's claiming that he doesn't understand how he became so divided. He's claiming yesterday that he gave Trump the best economy in the world, that he gave him the best COVID pandemic plan that he was ever known to man, that it took him 6 years to develop it. All that, I wish I could swear on here, but all of
How
that
could
is,
you have that plan before COVID was
well,
ever
he's
an
saying
issue?
that Obama said, we needed to have a plan for a pandemic that may happen, and they created it, and that it happened to be the best the world's ever known. It's absurd,
Wow.
and Obama, as far as I'm concerned, if you really want to know how I feel, is a punk. He's a rat and he's a punk, and he needs to be kept from having such influence.
Well, I'm
And
glad his wife didn't end up running for president because I think she would have been probably elected.
yeah, she very well may have,
Yeah.
and yeah, and we can get into
But
Kamala's decision about VP one of these days. But anyway, all right. So on our list, we go into he said, but we probably should talk about our second sponsor. We've
yeah,
got three today.
yeah. Let's
So
talk a little
Jeff,
bit about plumbing.
yeah, and Sammy
Sam,
has a photo that
I
you came across,
we
right?
yeah, we got this new sponsor, and then I was driving down 77 last night. You have it up, Sam? And I looked up and I go, well, there's my sponsor, Mr. Rooter. And I saw a little something on there. They're part of Neighborly. And Neighborly, I didn't do much digging into it, but I know a little bit about it. And it's an association of contractors in the construction related world.
Yeah.
And I just love the name Neighborly.
Yeah.
But our good friends at Mr. Rooter, they are driving the streets here in town, and they do both residential and commercial plumbing, and they're all over North America. But they've been in business since 1970. So I trust a plumbing company that's all over our great continent and has been in business since 1970. And I'll tell you what you are going to get from Mr. Rooter. You're going to get licensed experts, insured plumbers, guaranteed parts and workmanship, courteous uniform professionals, and convenient appointment times. They're friendly and they're warm with every client. They're going to arrive on time. They're going to keep your home clean with mats and shoe covers. They're going to provide a price before they start. They're going to deliver high quality, durable repairs, and they're going to stand behind their work for your peace of mind. So, in the few times you use them in your life, if you use them once, you'll use them again. If you use them once and you ever say, you know what, I'm tired of looking at this old, as my wife would like to say when she's looking at houses, which she loves to do. "Oh, it's a little bit dated, a little bit dated." Well, they'll take care of your dated bathroom.
They can update it,
They
right?
can update your dated
Yeah.
and make it look brand new.
Yeah.
And you can get a hold of them at 469-214-5179, 469-214-5179, or you can get them on the internet at mrrooter.com/Waxahachie.
Very good.
All right.
Very good. We're very happy to have Cancun's and Mr. Rooter, and we're going to introduce another one here in just a few minutes, but we are really excited about our sponsor. So, Waxahachie, this
Oh boy.
growing, beautiful, fun
And now we're all about fun from here on in.
city. Yeah. I love this city, and I've lived in a lot of cities, and Jeff's lived in a few himself. I would not long after getting here, I'm talking within a few days, I just felt it's almost like romance, where she's the one,
Amen.
and I
Amen.
do know mine is the one. And it
Beautiful.
didn't take me very long to know that she was the one. Just like it didn't take me long to know that Waxahachie was where I was going to spend the rest of my life.
Right.
And at some point, push up daisies somewhere here as I go on to heaven, hopefully get into heaven. But so Waxahachie, I love Waxahachie. It's a great city. Waxahachie means Buffalo Creek. We're growing so fast that the high school that we built in 2000, and I remember the bond was 2015 for $125 million. 118 million of that went to build a high school that now looks like Taj Mahal. out on 287. We've now
So that fine
outgrown.
arts center in there is
It's
great.
awesome, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. We've
Orchestra performances there, they
all of
just
it is
kick it.
just all of it is
Yeah.
incredible over there. It's a really nice campus. The need though for a second high school has already happened and is here. So a bond was passed last year, I think, so that we could build not only one more, not one more because we'll probably have to have more in the future, but to build a second one along with some renovations at other schools, junior highs and elementaries, and we're building at least one or two elementary schools, maybe three. So there's a lot of need that comes from all this fast growth.
Yes, and the irony there is we see it all the time in local news. You know, this suburb, one after the next, even the city of Dallas, we're going to close this elementary, we're
Yeah.
going to merge this, close this, merge this. Well, they don't do that just for the sake of whatever. They do it because of dropping enrollment, and
Right.
so
Budget.
we're a growing town, and that tells you something about our town.
Yeah. Frankly, this is a side note, but if the guys and gals in Austin at the state house there would get their hands out of local matters regarding education, we'd all be better off. That's just I'm not going to charge for
So
that.
let's get to the real heart of where we're
the
going to go
issue
here.
is the he said segment of our show today is that the new high school, which is going to be called Creek High School, which is an interesting name, that's already been decided upon. But now the school district, with its process, is going to determine soon what the mascot should be and the colors. So, and I have a very definite idea of what I'd love to see. I've already submitted it. This was 8 months ago to the superintendent. I think he kind of said, I don't know about that. But so weigh in on what you think.
All right, I'm going to start.
Well, hang on. So we got the context of the high school that's here now being the Waxahachie Indians, right? So if you have two,
And we know there's a lot of people who've done away with the indigenous
Yeah.
names, but we
we're
continue
going to
to
keep it.
and get well. That's a whole other discussion, but I think it's far more pride than anything else.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So the point that I'm going to make to set you up here is that like two schools, it's like North Carolina and Duke. They're 8 miles apart. That is almost probably closer than Waxahachie High School and Creek High School will be, given where they're located. And there's a big rivalry, North Carolina and Duke, right? So you got
you're always going to have rivals.
You
Yeah,
got two high schools in a city that eventually will become rivals. They won't, not initially, because one is going to be a much lower class in terms of the level of number of students and that sort of thing. So it's got to build up before it can compete directly with the current high school. But the context is you got the Waxahachie Indians already in place. So the idea is, okay, do we call the new high school the Cowboys? Do we call them something that makes the rivalry even more obvious and intense? So
do you want to tackle the mascot part first or the colors part?
whatever, mascot first, and then you can throw in the colors because that's the better way to do it, I think. Mascot.
Okay. There's been a growing trend towards mascots that are weather related, and I like them.
Thunder, hurricane,
lightning.
Yeah.
Downpour.
And
that's a good
so
name.
downpour.
You know, I wrote down cyclones, which is Iowa State, but
Yep.
tornadoes. You know, we had a Texas tornado hockey team with the minor with the junior hockey over in Fort Worth that went to Frisco, but I know they're destructive. But guess what? We deal with them. I like thunder, I like lightning, but a non-weather one, I really like buffaloes.
Creek High School Buffaloes.
High School Buffaloes.
It makes a lot of sense, frankly. And so I like that. I do. And I think what's going to happen, I'm hoping the school district will open it up to the community, may have some fun with it and narrow it down based on all the things that are submitted. So you got buffaloes. What let's skip before before we get to colors, do you have a sense of what the logo would look like?
Yeah, but before I get to buffaloes, I had one other thought. With us staying with Indians at the old one, I thought, well, maybe the particular tribe that had settled in Waxahachie, and I looked it up, and it was the Waxhaw Indians from the
Wow.
Carolinas, but I don't think you can go with the Waxahachie Waxhaws.
Yeah.
So I'm back to the buffalo, but
Okay.
yeah,
So let me just say here, I missed an earlier comment from Lisa about Obama is the head of the Democratic machine. I agree with you there. Sad, but I agree with you. And then Sharon just said we need to be some related buffaloes, arrows, or something of the like.
I like arrows.
All right. Well,
Uh,
but
well,
you got buffalo, so I'm interested in what the
well, just the Buffalo Bills. I mean,
wouldn't that be sweet?
just a big old buffalo, man.
Yeah, what's interesting is a lot of high schools in America do, and I don't know how they do this, how like maybe there's a deal that I don't know about, but or an agreement, but some high schools do copy
Yeah,
pro and
Green Bay's big on that.
yeah,
Yeah,
like Gainesville High
yeah, yeah,
School, their
exactly.
G is just
Yeah,
like the Green Bay Packers. So
and,
Creek Buffaloes with the
yeah,
although you would accept others, but
yeah,
the look of the Buffalo Bills, all right, colors,
and also buffs,
buffs. Okay, yeah.
buffs. Uh, colors. Okay, I wanna talk about colors that are off the table.
Okay, yeah.
You can't have silver and blue. You can't have Cowboys. You can't have Longhorn orange. You can't have Aggies maroon. You can't have Sooners maroon. Your Alabama's out of question too. That LSU, that purple and gold is so recognizable. We can't go with that, and we can't go with the Baylor green, and we can't go with the Texas Tech red and black because you're showing favoritism to any of those people.
All right.
And okay, so I tell you the colors I like. I like gray and black.
Okay.
I like black and gold, like the Bruins, Boston Bruins.
Yeah.
I like the red and blue, just like the Buffalo Bills, and I like blue and gold, like St. Louis
Rams.
and Rams.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I, those are my colors that I
Okay.
like. Yeah,
Cool. So that I like that.
yeah,
Yeah, I the black and you said black and gray. One of the coolest color sets I think would be really cool would be just straight up black and white. And not like Penn State, but in the USFL or UFL or one of those FLs that
hmm
the spring leagues was the Birmingham Bolts, and they were straight up black and white. But
yeah.
they had not unlike Penn State or unlike Alabama, they actually had the logo on their helmet and that kind of thing. It was sweet looking.
And when I put together those lists, I did my colors first and my mascot
Got it.
second. But if if it was buffaloes out of those color schemes, I think the silver
Black.
and black is the best. That is the most buffalo looking of them all. I think
Okay.
that'd be pretty bad to the bone, really.
All right, cool. So I have this text still. I
Okay,
should have
what you
found
got?
it and read it,
What you got?
but I sent to Jerry Hollingsworth, the school district superintendent. I said, look, I believe, given the context of the Indians already in place,
Yeah.
the cowboy and Indian is too kind of obvious. That
hmm
becomes too like gimmicky, in my opinion. I said, I believe, and this was before I knew that what the high school name would be, but it doesn't change now that I know it's Creek. Uh, I believe the mascot should be Palominos, which is a
Which
horse,
is a great horse.
horse that was used by Indians.
I like
All
it.
right. So we got the Palominos, so Creek High School Palominos. And I even said, look, in terms of the logo, it could be similar to the old Denver Broncos logo, uh, where maybe it doesn't have to have the W because I think their old logo had the D and then a horse head jumping
hmm
through it. I think a combination or something similar to their old logo of the Broncos and the new logo, where it's just the head of the horse, uh, would really be cool.
Okay. The way I'd like to see a Palomino is the silhouette at full gallop.
Yeah, so that almost like SMU
Yeah,
has.
yeah.
Maybe SMU's is just the picture, whereas like the Bills has that line through it that makes it look like it's high flying. So a silhouette of a horse that's got something that indicates it's actually
Sammy, look up the color of the Palomino.
yeah. So actually make it feel like the horse is galloping across the helmet. So the colors, although it will
He's
be
gonna,
interesting. Yeah. So we'll see what the Palomino.
and I'm thinking it's a tan.
It is a tan.
Yeah,
If not off white and tan.
and you know what? Nobody has tan.
Tan, yeah,
Who has tan?
they don't
Nobody
really.
has tan.
Well, the one because of that, along your line of
Yeah.
thinking, I said to Jerry that, so you got Palominos, you got the logo look, and then the colors I think should be something along the lines of the San Francisco 49ers. It's got that tannish color, and then theirs is more red and I don't know if you'd say gold, but not just like the San Francisco 49ers, but something along those patterns.
What do you got?
Yeah,
Golden
so
coat.
maybe I wonder what gold and tan would look like together.
I think you need a contrast. I like the gold.
You could have a different kind of sunset red,
Yeah.
maybe, or something along those lines. I don't want to go the Texas colors because that's
But you got to go real
hideous.
dominant on the tan and light on the other one.
Yeah.
Well, what time is it getting to be, Sam? What time is it?
Oh,
You tell me
it's
what
that
time it is.
So there you
You
go.
tell me what
That's
time it is.
our pick for Creek High School Buffaloes or Creek High School Palominos. There you go. All right. Oh, there it is.
Oh my goodness.
Yep, it's rhyme time.
Makes the
Jeffrey.
hair stand up on the back of my neck. Goodness
Yeah.
gracious. Okay. A lot of times I try to take something from my book. Further hindsights. I try to make it timely to what we're talking about. I could not find anything that I considered very timely, so I decided we were going to opt for pure fun. And I tell my kids at the grade school at St. Joe's when I'm teaching, you can write about whatever you want, whenever you want. And this thing, you won't believe, I started writing this poem in the customs line going into Canada. And I'm scribbling away, and my wife goes, "Well, what are you doing?" I go, "I'm writing a poem." She goes, "You're always writing a poem." I go, "You're going to like this one a lot."
All right, lay it on us.
Okay, it's called Compound Words. Compound words are a marriage of existing words. Did they elope? Nope. They just got spoke. It's a lot of fun how compound words do run. So here we go. Furthermore, as opposed to nothing more. Work around has a business sound. Walk about. It's how Aussies get about. Nonetheless, a close relative of nevertheless. Innermost, best part of the roast. Almost. Late with your boast. Bookworm, an earthly literary term.
Mm-hmm.
Greyhound, after the track, it's off to the pound. Badland, full of rocks and sand. Horseshoe, a shoe your dog won't chew. Nightmare, a sleeping scare. Anything could start a fling. Wind chime, so lonely on a still day.
Mm-hmm.
Speechless, silent bliss. Carefree, no cost to thee. Something, usually better than nothing. Rowboat, not fancy, but it will float all day. I could go on all day, but it's your turn to play. Goodbye. I gotta fly.
That's good. One of the favorite shows my wife and I watch is called The Floor. It's on Wednesday nights. You'd like it.
Oh yeah, I watch it.
And
yeah.
so last night, I don't know if you saw it, but
Yeah.
one of the, each
We
of
had
these,
to watch Golden Bachelorette.
I would not have admitted that on the public air.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you.
I
Thank
would
you.
not. I would not have gone there.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
anyway, on the floor last night, one of the people that had to defend their whatever,
Their
what they're an
territory.
expert in, was compound words. And so they got
Oh.
up there, and
Oh, really?
what the show did is they put a picture, like a book and a worm, and the contestants had to say bookworm. But they got a little bit harder as time went on. My wife and I had a good time
Wow.
watching that.
How timely.
That was a lot of fun. Yeah, that was good.
Well, we've got it taped, so I'm gonna have to catch it.
All right, I want to share with you our newest sponsor before we get to our this day in history. Our newest sponsor is Pier 7 Seafood and Bar on Highway 35 or Interstate 35 up in Lancaster. Here is a copy of their ad that runs in our hometown welcome guide, which goes to all newcomers in the county. move here. Pier 7 is straight up seafood, one of the best around. We are very happy to have them with us. They, again, are on Interstate 35 going north towards Dallas. They are on the east side. They're right in that area where In-N-Out Burgers is. So it's
Mhm.
in that area. It takes you maybe, depending on where you live here, but if from downtown, it may take you 15 minutes to get there, no traffic.
Cool.
But it's a wonderful restaurant. Their number is 469-297-5988. 469-297-5988. They have it all there. So if you're looking for great seafood, Pier 7
I got to
in
check it out.
Lancaster. Yeah, so makes me hungry thinking about it. So thank you to Pier 7. We are happy and proud to have you as our sponsor. All right,
So we move on to Today in History.
today in history.
Sam's got the
Man, well, I took a beating the other day, but I still had a winning
get
record.
you a fresh piece of paper
I know,
so
I
you
need
can
to.
see what you're doing.
But let me
don't
just
want you
say,
to
I don't think I have ever had I'm like Mike Tomlin of the Steelers. I've never had a losing record in this. So
Well, I went
anyway,
6-2 this morning when my dear wife Rita gave these to me fresh out of the newspaper. And as you know, 1 point to get it right. You lose a point to get it wrong. If you hit it on the head, you get 2 points. And we don't really have any extras for special facts today. And we go from oldest to youngest. And here we go.
all right.
Today in history. I almost
Well,
said
you
it.
almost said it, yeah.
The first transcontinental telegraph message was sent by Chief Justice Stephen J. Field of California from San Francisco to President Abraham Lincoln in Washington, D.C. Now, that's a pretty good clue for you.
Yep.
It was
if
only
Doug was here, he'd know it because Doug is all about Civil War.
this for about 5 years.
Yeah. So Sammy's into the Civil War too. What years was the Civil War? I told you and Doug that was during the Civil War.
What do you got?
I've got 1864.
1861. You both get it. No bonuses. Good job.
All right, let me get I got
Good work, man.
Yep. All right.
A massive off at the opening bell of the New York Stock Exchange led to chaos as stockbrokers couldn't keep up with the trade requests. Black Thursday marked the beginning of the Wall Street crash of blank year. The Wall Street crash of blank year. 1894.
We're not going to jump that far in years to be recent, but 1930.
1929.
Ah,
And that was the beginning of
Depression.
the Great Depression. The United States formally was born as the Charter. United Nations formally was born as the Charter of the United Nations took effect. The date is now observed as United Nations Day. Here, October 24th is United Nations Day, and it started on
Close to what I was going to say. 48.
45.
Sammy and Sharon. Sharon. Huh? No, I hadn't seen them. She's gotten the other two right. Oh, she got one of them, but she Googled it.
And I got the bonus on that, and we had
I
that
thought you said there wasn't any bonuses.
with the bonus for hitting it right.
Oh, that bonus. Yeah,
we had a companion to that the other day about something that happened 50 years before, and all you had to do was keep with the math or remember our last
that's
show.
right.
Here we go.
All right, wait a minute. What was the date on that one?
45.
Sharon said 58.
58. Sharon, you're hurting me. Authorities apprehended John Allen Muhammad and teenager Lee Boyd Malvo near Myersville, Maryland, in the Washington area sniper attacks. Malvo was later sentenced to life in prison. Muhammad was sentenced to death and executed.
That was an awful thing. Over what, a period of a couple weeks or a couple days?
Yeah, and I got it wrong, and I was kind of upset at myself.
To figure out when
68.
2010.
2002. I went with 13. I did not remember it was so long ago.
Yeah. Dadgummit.
Okay.
Yeah, that was just Sammy. You were what year?
2002.
Sammy wasn't born yet, but that was a young man, teenager, and some dude that he was with, killing people randomly in the DC area, and they were shooting. They discovered finally because over a period of days, they were like randomly killing people. They were shooting out of the hole hole in their trunk
Yeah.
where in the old cars you could put a key in
Up
and
on
turn
kind
it.
of a high ridge top looking down
Yeah, and they were
over it.
somebody filling up gas. Where they would sit and just pick people off. Yeah, a gun.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
awful.
Okay. A British Airways flight from New York to London marked the final commercial flight of the supersonic Concorde jet.
I'd say 2012.
2003, and I got
Yes,
that one wrong
again.
too. Okay.
Oh,
It
Sharon.
just went from 02 to 03. Yeah.
Sharon's missing them too.
It's tough. Tough. Hurricane Sandy roared across Jamaica and headed toward Cuba on its way to the eastern U.S. Hurricane Sandy.
2012.
The bonus is in effect for my friend Scott.
That's 2012. 3 in a row. I answered that, so that's a bonus. So I get.
I did that same thing. I kept taking
Yeah.
2013.
Did you?
Yeah. Okay.
Sharon got it, but she was way off. I can't tell what she's answering now, but anyway.
It's hard to tell. Heavily protected crews in Washington state worked to destroy the first nest of so-called murder hornets. My high school was the Dino Hornets.
Really?
Yeah, we were green and black and
Yeah.
gold. So-called murder hornets discovered in the U.S. 19,
I'd say 20.
21,
6 and 2.
6 and 2. That's what the big man had. All right.
Booyah. All right,
Booyah,
Sam,
booyah.
I need to put the date on this. So
All
that's
right.
24.
Okay.
All right, very good. Today is my oldest son's birthday.
Nice. Go on.
Happy birthday, Shane.
Did we have any fun today?
We had a great time today. So here we are. I want to give a brief update. We got about 1-2 minutes here. Maggie. I wrote about Maggie about a month ago. Maggie is our 10, 11-year-old. We adopted her, so we're not quite sure exactly how old she is, but we think she's around 10 to 12 years old. Beautiful dog, white, big, Pyrenees, they call her, between a Labrador and a Pyrenees. She's like Layla is to y'all, and she's just a beautiful dog, and we love her. And we're going through that time now where we know it's at the end. She's struggling with a lot of things, and we know that the decision needs to be made. We had an appointment about 3 weeks ago on a Friday at 9 a.m. to go to the doctor and let Maggie go across the Rainbow Bridge. We decided not to do that because she was eating a lot. She's just beginning to struggle even more. And our biggest concern is, of course, her well-being and how she's feeling. And we can't tell if what she's experiencing is pain or anxiety. Anxiety is pain, but it's not like she's not eating. So as long as she's eating, that's our biggest struggle is, what do you do if your dog is eating a lot and Maggie is drinking a lot because the medicine she takes makes her thirsty, and so does the anxiety. But if she's eating and drinking a lot, how can we ever
quality of life? I guess.
I mean, it's the quality of life is the same. I mean, it's when she pants, she paces like a wild animal in the zoo. So people have asked me to keep them updated. So the update is that we're getting closer, and my wife it's a difficult thing to be around Maggie's constant panting and needing to be there. So we'll keep you informed, but it's going to be, for those of you that experienced it already, it's a tough thing. So that's the update on Maggie. I think that's it. We'll be back. Jeff is about to go on a fun trip. We wish you the best. Have lots of fun.
Thank you.
Work on that tan, although you don't need to work on that.
You know, every time I go to someplace really pretty, we're going to Sedona, Arizona. I come back and I say, why do I live in Dallas, Fort Worth? But I do, and we love it.
Yeah.
But we're looking forward to seeing something.
Yeah, the
really
question
pretty.
about Sedona, real quick, when Pepsi and Coke always had those taste tests, people, I don't know if you know this, but the results always favored Pepsi. And what was discovered was that the quick one-time little hit of what it was more sugar was always better than the Coke. But over a longer time, Coke. It's the same thing about living in a place that's.
There you go.
If people living in Sedona may say, it's not that great. It's good
I've been looking at these same rocks every day.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you for being with us. That's our show today. Jeff,
please help us always remember, Don't write a check that you can't cash.